Remy para que el sol lo brille. Te juego fútbol, también te suelto mi fraseo. Se me hace fácil cuando suena este perreo. Andamos lo que somos, nunca con fariseo. Le dediqué goles, es lo que ella me pide y nos montamos en este Remy para que el sol lo brille. Te juego fútbol, también te suelto mi fraseo. Se me hace fácil cuando suena este perreo. Andamos lo que somos, nunca con fariseo. Le dediqué goles, es lo que ella me pide y nos montamos en este Remy para que el sol lo brille. Te juego fútbol, también te suelto mi fraseo. Se me hace fácil cuando suena este perreo. Andamos lo que somos, nunca con fariseo.
Parceros. Welcome to the Parceros Take, episode 21, featuring el gran Andy Deossa. Welcome back, Parceros. It's been a year since we last recorded. A lot has happened, but also not a lot at the same time. We'll be discussing everything about the Colombian national team, Nestor Lorenzo, call-ups, formation, style of plays, what the future holds for the Selección, La Sub-20, and then make sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to participate in the comments. Que vamos a estar leyendo los comentarios que dicen la gente, que dice el parcero Dani, que dice Andy. ¿Cómo vamos, muchachos?
Parceros. Man, glad we're back. It's been a minute. I think we were just talking offline. Last time we spoke, like we were hoping we were making it to the World Cup, and then, but yeah, that was the last time, man. Nuevas ilusiones. Hopefully, you know what I mean, with this new team, that a new environment that Nestor Lorenzo is giving us. Hopefully, you know what I mean, we'll make it to.
Yo, I like the jersey, bro. I like the jersey.
You know what I mean? It's something nice,
something light. You guys didn't know the Parceros were, during this hiatus, we were, traveling around. We were in Argentina for a bit.
Argentino ratico.
Normal, cosas que pasan. Andy, what's up, man?
What's up?
I know you're a little sad because of the Medellin game yesterday.
I don't want to.
I'm a little upset too. They played like ass, but how are you, man? How are you feeling today?
Nah, I'm happy to be back, man. I can't believe it's really been a year, bro. It's kind of crazy that it's taken us that long to somewhat recover from the tragic events.
It's tough,
but nah, it's wild because I didn't like talking about doing the show and things like that. I got to see Colombia live twice within this past, however so many months. They were in California a few times. So that was pretty cool, just kind of seeing a little bit of a new mix, some new players, seeing Lorenzo in action and whatnot. So yeah, definitely excited to chop it up, man, with the Oludos who are now finally back on stateside.
Los boludos.
Now we're glad to be back, man. And like you said, it's been a long time. A lot has happened. To give a quick time lapse or timetable of what has happened. Atlanta. Colombia didn't qualify. And they fired Reynaldo in June. Nestor Lorenzo comes in, and we've had a couple friendlies since then. He's brought in a lot of new faces. It's part of like this rebuilding process. So I guess we can start, talking about Nestor Lorenzo himself. He's someone that the federation takes a risk on, having only managed one team in his as a head coach. Right? He comes from Melgar, his Peruvian team, and he's hired as. He does well in Copa Libertadores, which I think brings attention to the Colombian Federation. And then he's hired. Previously, he was Peckerman's assistant all the way since the mid 2000s, and now he's a head coach. So I don't know what you guys think about that risk. It's similar to Scaloni, no? He was an assistant for Argentina. Now he's a head coach. And what do you guys think about if we can have a good
First thoughts of Lorenzo? Thumbs up or middle or down? What do you guys think?
A mí me gusta.
A mí también. Even though, like I knew I was waiting for you to. I knew it was gonna shock you because you already know. Like I'm not a Peckerman fan. You already know, and I'm not even gonna go down that route. But I was really intrigued to see in his style of play, and I feel like, of course, he's the last 3 games they started really slow. They were conceding goals early, and that's that's pretty shocking. But I feel like he's been making adjustments, and it's something that I didn't see from Peckerman. Peckerman, his adjustments, they were not there as compared to Nestor Lorenzo. I feel like he's trying new faces. Like you see el mediocampista, el de Rio what's his name? Kevin Cataño.
Roldán.
Cataño. He's putting Cataño. He's putting Duran. He's le está dando confianza a Carrascal. So I really like the fact that he's putting like that young squad out there, because I think we do need. I think it's time. Que ya the rebuild. Unfortunately, James and Falcao.
I was about to mention that.
Put him on the.
Lorenzo is someone who's very familiar with the spine of La Selección. That those people with hierarchy, with leadership in the team. James, Falcao, Cuadrado. He and Peckerman brought them up in upcoming to La Selección, right? So it brought him up into the stars who they are right now. So I wanted to hear Andy's thoughts on the hire. Like, do you confide in his process? Do you think it was a good hire? You gave a thumbs up, but why?
Yeah, I think kind of like what you mentioned, a little bit of the being familiar with the team, being familiar with how things kind of work. In the opposite sense of like, I'm not sure if I was a fan of like, oh, we needed a Colombian head coach. I think in the time that they had Rueda, like it was like, yeah, that's a good thing. And that's a conversation with I think every national team, like trying to get somebody that is part of, from that country. But I just feel like in certain countries, it's a lot. It's political. There's certain things.
Yeah. For context, el América de Cali. Oiga, ya.
No, dígale a doña Irma, por favor.
América de Cali fan, and América and Cali are playing right now, so I think it's 4-0 right now.
They're playing.
Cali Clásico. So you can hear in the back. My bad, Andy. I didn't.
No, you're good. You're good.
I love that.
Doña Irma, póngase seria.
No, and then he's in América. Es que América, un Deportivo Cali. Look, show him the cup, man. Show him the cup real quick.
He has it reversed on purpose, so you can't
tough,
see the logo.
No,
but like I said, it's just the thing of like, everybody's always like, oh, we needed a Colombian.
We missed a penalty. We missed a penalty. My bad.
And I think that like it goes into him with like a lot of pressure, and you always start. We talked about how many times that rosca of like Reinaldo and Nacional players and certain players that didn't belong getting called up. So I think that in a sense, sure, because Lorenzo knows the team, it's a little at ease, but I don't feel like he's going to fall into those pressures of saying like, hey, we need to have certain players come in from certain teams, because if that's going to continue, then Colombia's not going nowhere. As that would happen, I think, with any other nation. Like there's obviously a lot of talent in the local league, but we do have to realize the el nivel de la liga, how much it's like calmed down throughout the years, and also in the opposite, how many players we have abroad that we'll talk about later. Some are playing well, some are not. But I just think it's like those moments give experiences to a lot of different players, and I think Lorenzo has that mindset of knowing that this is a new era. This is not coming in to rely on those former players who have been great for us, who have given us great things. But at the same time, like you need to kind of start new, man, and that's what it's about, like Danny mentioned. so starting new and having a fresh approach is definitely what it's about for me. I like it.
Hey, Danny, seriedad, por favor. Yo, I want to shout out the people in the chat. Cassius, Steven, what's up, guys? Beckham versus England.
Bro, don't let me talk. Yo, I already know.
We still talk about this Beckham game.
Don't get me started.
It's been over 4 years, man. It's about to be 5 years.
We let go of Yepes. We let go of Yepes. We need to let go of that England game, bro.
No, I'll never let go of that game. I'll never let go of that game. I'll never let go of that game. Perdóname, no. It's one of those things. It's like you forgive, but you don't forget, bro. Like you can't do that. But anyways, but we're saying, no, I really like it. I really like the style of play. Of course, I'm just speaking here of the second halves, right? I like what I saw. I like that he's trying out new things. That's what friendlies are for, and he's making adjustments. Y le ha dado resultado against Mexico, against Korea, against Japan. But now it's time to, si sigue pasando si nos vacunan los primeros minutos de los partidos, it's gonna, we need a game where he solidifies and keeps that our net at 0, man.
Yeah, I think the upcoming friendlies are going to be a great test for that. Especially Germany. I don't think we've played a team like Germany in a long time. I don't remember the last European top team that we've played like that. It might have been England in 2018.
There wasn't there that France friendly, but I don't know. They didn't have like their full.
But that was before
Before the
the 2018 World
the
Cup.
World Cup, right?
Uy, un partidazo, pa. ¿Te acordás?
Partidazo, bro.
Bro, yo, Colombia
Quinterito,
came back.
Quinterito,
Colombia came
Quinterito,
back and
jugamos
won
mucho,
3-2
parce.
in
Like,
France against the future world champions. That's crazy. Spain.
I remember
We
that
played
Spain. We played Spain, but I think that was like during the 2014. I remember Cuadrado was wearing the number 4. That was when Cuadrado first started showing out.
In Armero. Armero, he like took on Piqué or something like that, and Piqué got a yellow. I don't know, it was something crazy like that. Anyways, some of the call-ups that we've seen from Nestor, what I think is very interesting is that Nestor is not only looking at Europe, right? He's been calling up guys in Brazil and in Colombia, even though the level is so low in Colombia. I think there are like hidden gems or pieces of the puzzle that can fit into the team, right? He's also looking at MLS, things that Reynaldo has done in the past, did do in the past, but to a very limited extent. And then Queiroz, I don't think called any MLS players up. So he's taking a holistic approach to these calls, right? He's looking at the whole picture, which is what I like about him. What call-ups do you guys find interesting? For me, I think the best inclusion is Carrascal, who we haven't seen previously in that selección.
He's been big. I was just about to mention him. I mean, we already know how he is, with the ball in his feet. But what really surprised me is el entrego. So entrego defensively, like he really showed out. And it's not to bag on James, but it's like you totally see the difference when James is in. He's a liability defensively. You know what I mean? Korea, you could just see Korea playing out the back so easily with James in. But once we're able to, I knew you were gonna do it. But then once Carrascal is in there, you could see the pressure. Him and Borré pressuring, side by side. It really helps us out big, man.
Yeah, háblame de golazo de Borré against Japan, bro.
Yeah.
No. And Borré has that, man. Borré will shock you every so often and score one of those bangers that you're like, yo, this dude really got it. But what Denny says is true. I think it's just the younger dudes being just more ambitious and more hungry. And I think going to the larger point that we've been talking about is discipline and things like that for the older players. But yeah, Carrascal has been a breath of fresh air completely. It's just like these guys are going to come out with something to prove. You see, Sinisterra got the chance against Mexico in that second half and went crazy. And it was like that. I was actually at that game that was up in San Francisco. And that game for the first 45 minutes was like really all Mexico. Like they were playing pretty well. And that was kind of the whole story because this was a pre-World Cup, tune-up for them after they had played against Peru at the Rose Bowl. And then the halftime switches came. James comes out, Sinisterra and Borré and whatever other switches he made. And it was like a completely different game. And it's like when you have players that A are coming in hungry, but B have the ability and the talent to be able to switch games like that, it's crazy. So I think Sinisterra is going to be a big part moving forward. And in terms of MLS, I really like. I mean, I know he just got back from injury, but having Cucho in the mix is going to be huge. Like I know that there's always that stigma about players that go to MLS and stuff like that, but he's. I mean, we've known this for a while. He's an incredible goal scorer. He's an incredible player. I think he just needs to be part of the cycles. He needs to be part of just getting those rotations in, getting those, trainings in with the team to feel like he's part of, like he actually belongs, because he kind of threw a shot at, not necessarily threw a shot, but I had asked him in media day earlier this year about like Colombia. And he's like, I really want to be part of this cycle. But like the prior coach, I never really had conversations with him. And I'm like, so does that mean you've had conversations with, the current coach? He's like, yeah, we've talked. It's been really promising. And obviously the friendly that they played against the U.S. was in the States, so it was easier for him to be at. But still, just a great player that we know has that talent, and I think that he's another piece that can help Colombia move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can tell he's disciplined about his craft, right? Mm-hmm. He loves the game.
And we haven't even mentioned Lucho. Mm-hmm. Lucho's back in the mix.
Other MLS players who've been called up, Dylan Borrero, who last night
he just got injured, man.
An injury, man. That looked pretty nasty on that turf.
Bad injury last night, man. Unfortunately,
that's sad to see. Hopefully, recovers soon from that. Juan David Mosquera from Portland Timbers.
They're playing really well in Portland.
And who else? Who else has been? There are a couple. I think there's what I saw was that People are calling for Darwin Quintero, bro, to be called up from
Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin. De la
Yo,
América?
I saw like a thread on Twitter, like
No,
random as
man.
hella.
No,
Like they're saying
no.
they're saying he's Colombia's best
no.
the best player playing in Colombia.
No,
Hey, yo,
to me,
bro,
the best player playing in Colombia, which I would actually want to see, is Cataño, el de Millonarios,
bro,
number 10. He's nasty. He's balling,
He's so
bro.
nasty.
But if Peckerman played Magnelli forever, bro, you might as well put. Why are you laughing, bro? I'm serious. Like, why not playing Cataño? Man? He's nasty. He could play. He moves very well on and off the ball. He's one of those players that could really bring something different. Kind of like, to me, I would want to see him more than James. To be honest, man. Man. I'm
That's a bold take, bro. How old is Cataño?
He's in his 30s. I don't think he's like super young either. He's been around for
he's his 30s, but I will give him a chance, man. I will give him a chance.
Bro. Over a historic goal scorer, the maximum figure of a 2014 World Cup, and just throw in Cataño for no reason?
Not for no reason. I will give him a chance. To me, we're talking about Colombian players, right? You just mentioned over Darwin Quintero. Yeah, I will put Cataño. To me, he's the best player in Colombia right now. To me, he's the best player in Colombia right now.
Yeah. Also, like
Quintero, I'm definitely off on that for sure.
No.
Left back that plays in France, Machado.
He's
plays for Lens. Like, Colombia has never had a good left back, but this dude, he's been solid in the French league, and I like the inclusion of him. Going forward, Colombia can really build off that left side with this guy if he stays consistent, right?
I agree. He had the assist for de Duran on Duran's goal. He locked that left side really well. Defensively, I think he's a little shaky, but he gives us a lot going forward, man.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Ruiz is someone that I'd like to see called up. He's in Santos and on loan from Millonarios. Attacking mid, I think he's 21, I believe. But he's a great player with a lot of potential. I think he needs to see minutes and needs to be, like Andy said, needs to be part of those camps, be included in the squads. I think especially if you're trying to sell a player abroad, I mean, the best way is showcasing them on the national team. El Hombre said a few players from that Sub-20 team should not be overlooked.
I like that point. I think they're gonna obviously use what's coming up in the future as more of a guide to see like who's really about that. But I think a lot of them did certainly made a name for themselves to honor or look for that. But it's once again, like you said, like getting these younger players in, and also like what's that mix like? Because I'm thinking about a player like Jairo Moreno, who I've talked about on this program many times. So I think is really, really good, but like coming off an injury right now, just trying to get back to Leon. But like he's kind of like in that middle part of like he's been around for a little bit. He's not super young. And he's not like the James and Cuadrado, like OG Falcao status. And it's like, what's that balance? Because who are those guys now? Like, obviously, Lucho is like our reference point of like, running the team at this point. And Quintero, if he's healthy and he's playing. But it's like, what's that balance of like, because you can't go completely new, right? You can't go all these young guys. I don't think we're in a position to be able to just start from zero and be like, hey, Parce, Falcao, thanks for everything, peace. Like, I think you still need a little bit of that mix. But a lot of those U20 dudes for sure are going to be interested in getting it.
That's what I like about Nestor. I mean, he's looking at the whole picture, right? Like some of these guys that he's been calling up, they're not particularly like young, right? They're Machado is like in his late 20s. ¿Qué más?
Cuesta's a kid, man. Like Cuesta's still young, and people forget about him because he's on the other side of the world and kind of in a league that's not watched a lot, but. Yeah, I think he's going to be
24.
Really solid.
20 with Lukumi. We haven't seen much of Lukumi though, but the little he's been solid.
He's been solid. I thought Lukumi was very solid I think he was the most solid defender in his last couple of friendlies, in my opinion. Lukumi.
But now they need to start like showing their level and I don't know, aspiring to higher leagues, right? Davinson, when he took off, he skyrocketed into from Ajax to he went from Ajax to Tottenham, no? Straight from Ajax to Tottenham.
Yeah, I think so.
But they're playing these top leagues. Cuesta, like I would like to see him be challenged, in Germany for example. I think that would suit him, or Lukumi. You know, these are ball playing center backs that would be great on these big teams in these tougher leagues.
But I figure like Lorenzo has to know that the way that happens is them actually being effective on the national team, which is part of the whole argument. Like, you have to get them not only in the squad, you have to let them play, because there's going to be a lot more eyes when he has a Colombia jersey on compared to when he has his club jersey on. So you need these dudes to get part of the cycle, get that confidence, and have these big games. Like Danny's saying, like in the friendlies, Lukumi was great, and that's how people are going to start noticing. Because say what you want, when people say, "Oh, Colombia's playing," they're going to be watching to see where these players are coming from, who are they playing for, like what type of qualities they have. There's always going to be eyes on these guys.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there are a lot of names that have been erased from the national team that last year or a year and a half ago we would think they were like indispensable, right? There's no way they could be off the team. You know, Duan Zapata was scoring or assisting like every other game. Like, he had a long ass scoring streak, and now he's erased, man. He scored, I believe,
yesterday. Was it yesterday or today?
I think I wondered,
yesterday.
But it was the first time in 6 months, right? And only the second time in like almost over a year.
Yeah. So another one, Muriel as well. Muriel hasn't been gaining a lot of playing time, man. He's been coming off the bench, gaining like 7 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 minute. So
there are a lot of these players, man. Like, and list goes on. Borré, Duan Zapata, Muriel, Davison Sanchez, who right now is the most hated man in North London. He did not want to see this
poor
man
guy.
on the pitch.
Poor guy, bro.
And it's not his, like, you know, some of it is like, abajo el nivel, but like some of it is not his fault. As the same way as Borré, man. I cannot believe what this guy takes. I forget the team he's on. What team is he on?
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. He takes Frankfurt to Europa League finals, wins them the game. Se volvió ídolo, bro. Qualifies for the Champions League, like, and then they bench him for the French guy, who, I mean, he's a good striker, but dude, you can't do that to like one of your referentes, no? You know what I'm saying?
It's the same story for the Colombians everywhere, bro.
Bro, es una locura. No sé, like, Borré needs to get out of there. Like, I don't know what team you guys. No, you know, he's our number one striker, right, for Colombia.
Man, I want him in Spain somewhere, man. I would love Borré in like Spain somewhere, like, you know what I mean, in Atletico, Valencia, something like that, man. I think he would really. I mean, he's a great player, man. El sacrificio que tiene ese man es una máquina. He needs to be on the pitch.
Yo, Falcao, please retire from the selección. Yo, Falcao he's getting paid in LA now. Yo, like, he's gone to Asia. Like, Falcao, I don't know if we're gonna see him again in la selección. You guys, maybe Copa America is his last opportunity with la selección.
Maybe, but see, like, what I don't understand is if we're still calling out Falcao and we're still calling out James, why not, you know, call up Cuadrado? Cuadrado is, you know, out of all three, Cuadrado tiene el que más está rindiendo, like, for Juventus at right back. Daniel Muñoz is not playing that well. I mean, I like him. He had a rough couple games. He had a rough game against Japan and Korea. I think he was out of the back four, he was the one that was getting exposed the most. And I think he gave up the header too, right? But why not call Cuadrado?
To be honest, I didn't wake up for that game, bro. I was early. Yo, if I didn't wake up, Andy was profundo.
It was early. Definitely early to
me. But why not? So if we're calling up James and Falcao, why not Cuadrado? Because I thought, to your question earlier about indispensables, I thought Cuadrado was one of those guys that had to be in la selección.
And I think he still will be, honestly. I think that's a conversation that people are having, but I don't think that's necessarily a conversation that the coaching staff is having. I think they're probably counting with a player like Cuadrado. I think they're probably counting with a player like James, because right now he doesn't have a damn team to play on. So it's like you need to see him on the ball, and the only chance for him to get on the ball is with Colombia. Call him in and let him hit a few free kicks at practice or something, man. Falcao, I think it's a different story, because it's been going that way for, you know, a few years now, where it's been like up and down with him. But if I had to pick from the three, I would say Cuadrado was probably the most sure shot right now at that point.
Andy, whenever you start these James to MLS rumors, man,
Papi,
de que tiene poder, pa.
That rumor mill, we could get that going, bro. But the problem is like he might come over here and be the same person, and then he's acabó todo because like
what does that mean? What do you mean the same person,
bro? Like, what do you play? 20 games? He played 20 games with Olympiacos, like 23.
He killed it though. He killed. I mean, he was their best player.
And this is what I've been saying about James his whole career. Like when he went to Bayern, people were like, "Oh, he didn't do anything." I was like, "Did you guys actually watch him play? Because he played really well when he was on the field, but." When he's on the field is very subjective because he's not always available, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like for a player of that name, like to come to a league like MLS, obviously we're talking local, but like to go to certain places, it still moves the needle. Like even when he went to Olympiacos, they made a big deal, especially because Marcelo was there. Like, oh, he used to play with this guy, they're friends. Like James still moves the needle. Of course, there's the people that are gonna say, oh, well, 2014 was a fluke and he's been washed ever since. But look at his first few years in Madrid, played really well. I even think those first few months at Everton, he had a pretty good showing when he was able to play, and then he fell off completely. So we know his quality, but it's always the same thing. Like he gets to a certain point, and that's it. Like we don't see him for
I say he goes to Madrid under Ancelotti, one last dance.
You think so? Nah,
bro. Puede ser.
I'll buy the jersey again. I'll tell you that much.
Like James, Quintero is also looking to exit Junior de Barranquilla in the summer. I don't know.
The worst thing Quintero could have done was go to Junior, and I'm not even just saying that as a Medellin fan. I think it was even worse. It was even worse for him. I think it was even worse for him going to China, bro. And I'm going to tell you why.
He said, "I'm not saying this as a fan."
Yo, Ron got the pictures locked and loaded. But yo, I think he's going to China, bro, for real. Bro, this dude, I think he could have literally picked a team in South America, and they would have been like, "I bet, come through." And obviously family stuff. He wanted to stay in Colombia and stuff like that. Part as a junior, like that project, they gave him half of the money that the damn Barranquilla owns, and they were like, bro, you're gonna play with some muertos, and they're not gonna be able to kick a ball, bro. He's playing with nobody when he was playing those first few games. Parece el talento que tiene ese Cucho, el talento que tiene ese man, like, and it goes to the same thing with James. Like, there's a certain level that these players are at, right? We could tell they're world class because we've been watching them forever. We've been watching them since Envigado days and things like that. And you see them go through the progressions. Quintero is an idol, obviously, in River for a great reason, right? And I think that, like I said, teams like higher standing in South America, I'm talking Argentina League, Brazil, whatever the case may be, would have been like, where we could count with a dude like this and have him. He wanted to stay home. He wanted to go. He wanted to be close to his family. I respect that. And look at that's gotten him nowhere, Papi. So Americana, fracaso, because that team is trash. The La Liga, fracaso, because that team is trash. And even if he would have went to Medellin, it would have been the same thing because the team is trash. The La Liga, they would have been trash. Libertadores, they would have been trash. Any team in Colombia, he wasn't going to really excel there.
So Andy, where do you see him? Where do you see him? You see him into a big team in South America, like say Brazil, like a Flamengo.
I can see it. I can definitely see it. But it's like this reason. The reason why I'm saying the problem is because now his latest references is going to be what he did in the Colombian league, and they're going to look at that and be like, bro, he didn't do anything. Like, sure, they know him off of talent. But these past few months have done nothing to help his character, help his persona. They're gonna be like injury prone once again. It's gonna be the same conversation that people have been having against Quintero. And then the way that the negotiations went down when people were saying he was already basically good with a team in Brazil, and then they were saying he was good with a team in Brazil. Then they were saying he was good with Medellin. They were saying he was good with Junior. Then Junior was like, nah, like una novela. Like in Colombia, bro, it was like literally watching a novela every day on Caracol to see what Quintero I would love to see him in MLS selfishly because I think it's a league that would suit him. But I think if he came to MLS, he would be gassed, bro, because he's not gonna be up to the physical level that some of these young kids are, some of these older dudes too. So I don't know. I see it like very hard.
He'll still ball out though. He'll still ball out.
He's gonna ball everything. He's in like 6 months in Atlanta. He makes his cash and then he leaves.
Yeah, he can ball. Like the talent is there, but my problem is like he's supposed to be like, I don't want to say centerpiece because it sounds like putting too much pressure, but he's literally one of our most important players for Colombia going forward. And if we don't have him playing meaningful time and minutes and have him playing in general wherever league he's in, then we can't count on him. And it's going to be the same thing like what happened with James. Like we know how great James was, and a lot of us some more than other were like, yo, we still need him, until they got to the point like, yo, we don't, because he's not showing it in the club level, and that's just how.
Yeah, but then we did need him, man.
Games, bro. Say it again?
Yo, we say we don't need him, and then
Listen, I love James, bro.
Yeah, we got a comment going on in the comments. Hello, guys. What do you guys think of Yasser Asprilla? I support Watford FC. Oof. What's up, man? How's it going? Maybe he's in England. It's late in England if you're in England watching us. But thanks for tuning in, man. Yasser Asprilla. He's the future.
He's promising.
He's very promising, right? Of Colombia. Yeah. I know the U20 World Cup is coming up in later this month. Hopefully Watford, let him play, because it's not an obligation for these clubs to let these players play these tournaments. But I really like what I've seen from him. I think he came on in against Japan, was it? And that's how Borres, the play where Yasser participates ends up in Borres' free kick or bicycle kick. But I like the way Yasser, he takes on players. He's very confident in that sense. Maybe his awareness isn't completely there. Maybe he can play a pass. Maybe he takes on when he can play a pass. But he's promising, and what I like the most is what I said: his confidence.
No, I agree. Siento que no le pesa la camiseta. Like he's very confident. He's got a crazy left foot. He's one of those players that that can make a difference. Finally scored his first goal a couple of weeks ago. Likes to take on people on a one-on-one, can play on the wing, can play in the middle. And I think what you mentioned, having him get rid of the ball a little quicker, that's just gonna come with experience. It's just a matter of time for him to just keep getting playing time. Hopefully he is able to go get more experience in the under 20. I'm pretty sure Lorenzo's gonna keep calling him up, because it's one of those players that you gotta keep grooming.
You gotta bet on him. You gotta bet on him.
For sure. Yeah, because he can make something. He's one of those players that
in Colombia. Colombia would say distinto, right? Someone who's different, who offers something different. Someone who's above, who's a step ahead of the rest of the players and on the pitch. That's what I think of Yasser. I really like him, man. I can't wait to see what the future holds for him.
You guys said it, the confidence that he's already shown. I think that stands out for a player of his age. You could tell he's not really nervous by situations. It doesn't seem like he's very confident on the ball. But I think the other thing that stands out to me, obviously, is his pace. And I think about it in the terms of, like, we're talking about a new era for Colombia, where we see these guys that we've been mentioning, James, Cuadrado, they tend to, in their prime, they were faster players, but lately they've slowed the game down for Colombia in ways that we're like, why are we playing the ball back? We should be moving it forward. And if you think about a player like Lucho with Yasser and these younger players that are fast, we could be seeing a different change in that mentality going forward. When you have a player with those traits and that pace like Yasser has, like Lucho has, like, we could be seeing them go, full speed like we want them to. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good look.
Yeah. Hey, we got a comment down here from Philadelphia. So what's up? Danny, how you feeling about Cali?
It's 3-1. All right, we scored. All right.
Hey, yeah.
Give us time. No, el penalti.
The funniest thing about this stretch of Cali is the guy dancing. You've seen the guy?
Oh, man. Yo, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. With the song?
Yeah. Hi. Baby, please don't go. Yeah. The memes are hilarious, bro. If you're not on Twitter, man, you're missing out.
Yo,
the memes are better than actual games, bro.
Hey, yo, but real quick, where do you guys see James playing, and where do you guys see Quintero playing come August? What league?
Parce, James is gonna end up over there like in Saudi Arabia, man. Like, just go get your guap in Saudi Arabia, man, or something, or Qatar.
You say?
I mean, hopefully he comes. I want to see him in MLS because I think he'll ball out here, but he's probably, I don't know.
Quintero.
I think Quintero stays in South America. I think
maybe Brazil, like a Brazil. I think a Brazilian team will probably pick him up.
I think the Brazil move, which probably should happen, is what will end up happening with Quintero for sure.
Where do you see? Where you guys?
Is hard, man.
James is what?
James is hard. Like, I feel like he could play in Spain, like on a mid to lower tier table team, and he, obviously knows the league and is comfortable being there. But and you get to the point, like, what teams are willing to take risk I don't know if it's more so on
he's
a
a liability, man.
Financially, right? Like you have
like,
to.
you already know how it's gonna end.
You gotta pay him, and you also don't know what you're gonna get in terms of consistency. Like that's hard, man. Like
it's worrisome, bro. It's worrisome the fact that you know what I mean. He's not finishing out a season, bro.
Right.
Again,
there were some talks of him going back to Portugal.
That'd be cool. That would be pretty cool too. I think.
Botafogo was.
That's right.
He was estaba sonando por ahí. Oscar Cortés, I don't know how familiar you guys are with him. I think he was on the radar for Salt Lake City, for Real Salt Lake. He played Millonarios. He's a winger, 19 years old.
Nice.
They say he's very reminiscent of Lucho Diaz at his time in Junior. Not comparing them to, they're low. Hay niveles de niveles, but the way he takes on defenders, the way he's pacey, he's confident, he's young. He has a lot of it reminds a lot of people of Lucho and when he was in Barranquilla. Oscar Cortés, 19 years old, Millonarios. There are heavy rumors of him going to Lens to France. So that's another Colombian to look out for in top 5 league over there. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the player, if you guys seen him around.
I haven't watched him.
I've seen him a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard the name for sure in the more so the rumblings of different places. But listen, a young player going abroad to France, as long as it doesn't end up like a Marlos Moreno situation where I think he's in witness protection now. Nobody knows where he is.
Yo, facts.
You just want to see these young dudes like get that experience early. And once again, like, listen, man, nosotros somos colombianos, like somos amantes de la liga in our teams, of course, like apoyamos, but it's like, yo, that right now that league is not the place where these younger players need to be getting the experience at, because it not only just the level of the league, but I just think it's like the comfort of being home and different things about being around, people that and things like that. Like go far away and get tested, go to a different country that you don't know the language, that you don't know many people, because that's when you're really going to see if these players are able to make it. Because if you want them to get to a certain level with the national team, they need to be all around athletes. They just can't be talent. It just can't be a person that's talented. It's not going to work when you're in situations where you're playing these top level teams in the world. So I like that. I like that he's getting recognized, and if he does make a move abroad, like that's only better for Colombia and for him.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's challenging himself at a young age. If you look at historically, some of our best players, James, Falcao, they're challenging themselves in their teams in Argentina, right? They went abroad very young. So nice to see him. Hopefully he gets minutes. Lens, I think, isn't it the same team Wilker Fariñas went to, the Venezuelan keeper?
I think so. Yeah, I remember he was.
But they benched Wilker and he wasn't getting many minutes. Hopefully Oscar Cortés puede sumar minutos allá en Francia. Yeah, it's a Borré. Yo, I haven't seen any. We touched on Borré, but I haven't seen any like solid transfer rumors on Borré.
No,
maybe we'll see more as the summer starts to heat up.
But he needs to get playing time, man. We need him to get playing time. Borré needs to get playing time. Duran, I know he's in Villa. I know he's young, but he's not. He hasn't been getting much minutes either, man. We need them. We need them on the pitch.
What I'm most excited is, as the summer starts to, like I said, heat up, is the U20 World Cup, man. To see Duran, if they let him play his tournament, if they let Yasser Asprilla play his tournament. Some of these European players or European-based players that aren't getting club minutes, if they can showcase their talent on this stage, and it can propel them to, or propel some of the lesser known names, say Castilla, Mantilla, center back, who's there were slight rumors of him going to Liverpool back when in the Suramericano, but nothing solid. Like this is a big platform for these players to make a name for themselves and propel themselves to those big moves, to challenge themselves at a young age to in Europe or abroad.
Miguel Monsalve, man, I'll bring my Medellin fandom out. Ese niño es un talento increíble, and he had a pretty good tournament. I just think he's still very indecisive in certain moments when it comes to making the right decision, but his eye for passes, for his ability to connect passes, break down lines is incredible. You could tell that he has that raw talent that in the future is going to be good. And it sucks because he's been in the Medellin academy, and like this season, now that things are going badly, like they're finally giving him a chance to play, and you can see him show out in certain ways. But I just think he just needs a little bit more of maturity. But I think he's like somebody to look forward to for the tournament and in the future, because he has, like I said, that midfield ability that you really need, the creative player that, maybe when James and Quintero, their time is done fully, then we have somebody to step in there.
Michael de la Parra is asking us, with all the talent from Colombia and MLS, do you think any of them will actually contribute to that Sele?
I think Borrero was the one. I think in that game that they played against the U.S., which was a really weird game here in California, not much to take away from it, but you could tell his quality. The same thing I mentioned earlier about pace with Yasser. He's a very fast player. One-on-one, it's like he almost like thrives in those situations, seeing defenders in the solo situation and go at them. And then, from following the Revs and talking to Bruce Arena, which is, one of the most renowned coaches in the country, like he really has a lot of good things to say about him. But it's, once again, like he needs his maturity level, which is all a moot point now, because it looked like he tore his knee up pretty badly yesterday in that game against FC Cincinnati. So that's tough. But, a name that definitely resonates. And I think that anybody that plays with him is like, yeah, this dude is super talented, and you can see it. So that's hard. But I think the ones that we mentioned earlier, with Mosquera and Portland, I think Santi Moreno is interesting, because I think he's a very talented player. I just
ex-America.
I just think he hasn't been able to show it too much in Portland yet. But they got off to a rough start, and the thing that I'm confident about is that Portland is a very well coached team, has a very talented roster in terms of how they want to play. They're very particular. Jimmy Chara just came back yesterday, and Santi already picked up an assist to him. So it's like the more reps he gets, I think he's a very interesting player for the selection moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And then we also touched up on Cucho Hernandez.
Cucho, that's right. Cucho is like, in my head, he's already a short shot. Like I'm already like counting him as he needs to be on the list every time, bro.
For sure. And Castilla, like you mentioned, Danny, who's been playing in the MLS Next Pro League, and he's been getting some minutes with the second team down at Houston Dynamo. But he's nasty. He's nasty, and hopefully we can announce something in the coming days with him. Hopefully a little.
Hay que invitarlo.
Hay que invitarlo al programa, a ver qué se dice. You see, like I was saying, U20 World Cup starts May 20th in Argentina. What's funny is that we eliminated Argentina. Like we beat Argentina 1-0.
Yeah.
And then,
Sí, los colearon.
And then, they let him in. Okay,
la rosca.
But yeah, right. That's typical. But once again, like we're talking about new eras. Like you see those young kids, they were up for that game, man. Like it was like you saw it from the beginning. They really were like, yo, we can't get bullied in this game. We need to play from the jump. And that's the thing that, it's a younger level, but it's a thing that's always has been like a downfall for Colombia when we play certain teams, specifically Argentina, where it's like, bro, just play to the same level you play of confidence against everybody. Because, there's the games against Brazil that we've played that they come out, firing. And then there's games that we're like, oh, nah, that's Brazil. And it's like, bro, for that game against Argentina, them kids were balling, bro. Like they were on it. And you like to see that confidence level, I think, is going to go a long way, because once again, when you're ushering a new era and kids, I think they know more so than anybody, like all eyes are on them. Like right now, it's probably open pool, like you guys have been saying on program, where it's like anybody's available, regardless of what level you're at, what country you play in. So they're gonna have something to say, and hopefully that opportunity leads to them having a good tournament, because I think the team is solid, man.
What I like about them is the most is their confidence, man. They assume the responsibility of what it is to wear the shirt, and I mean they like playing these big in these big tournaments, man. We saw in the Sudamericano, they balled out in the second half of the Sudamericano, man. They played 2-2 with Uruguay, with Argentina, even with Brazil. Even with Brazil, I think that game ended up in a draw. Gustavo Puerta golazo. Well, Gustavo Puerta, we'd even mentioned, who's in Germany right now, in Nuremberg. He went from Bogota FSA, second division from Colombia, straight to Germany. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. A lot of people are very excited. There are a lot of names that we'll hopefully see in the future. A lot of people are comparing this team to the one in 2005 or something like that, where Falcao was playing in the U20s, I believe.
Falcao, Guarín.
but there was a lot of talent on that team. People are saying there was a lot of talent on this team. So I'm excited, and hopefully we can have, one of those guys that are English speakers on the program in the coming days.
No, man.
Hey, I love Teo now, bro.
No.
Teo nos dio una copa, entonces ya te hablaba tanta mierda de Teo, no. Teo
¿Cómo es parte de Cali?
Entonces, hombre, 3-1. Vamos a ver.
Hey, Karen, what's up with Roger? Is he still playing in Mexico? Does he get burned? Like, that's one player I have not even heard of in a while.
Roger Martinez?
Yeah.
No, nothing, bro. I haven't heard from him either.
He's like doing Zapata, man. He fell off the face.
I was thinking about that, man. That's so weird because I feel like he could have been a big help too because he's pretty talented, but I haven't heard much from him recently. Another name that I had in my head that just as being close to the situation is Doessa. Obviously, had to get the ACL injury, but he's a player that moved to Palmeiras. Is like kind of gives him a little bit of a boost in I guess in the sense of the pool. But I've been watching him for years now. Obviously, being at LAFC, I was pretty close to following him the few years he was here, and that's a dude that like he could be like next up and fill right into that spot, that defensive mid spot. Super talented. So hopefully he bounces back from that injury.
A big injury, man. Yeah, I mean he was super entertaining to watch, man. When he was here in MLS, I love watching him he was so elegant. No se complicaba. Luka Modric de la MLS. Pero it's a big injury. He was captain for the U23s too. So I mean he's well respected, I guess, in the federation.
For sure.
Well regarded. Hopefully he bounces back, man. Yeah, I feel like Colombia is the most unlucky like selección in the world with like these injuries, man. Or players just falling off the face of the planet. Yeah, I saw a video today where it was like this generation had el 10 de Madrid, el goleador de Atlético de Madrid, ¿qué más? Que el lateral derecho de Juventus, que el capitán de no sé qué.
Remember when Jerry Mina got signed by FC Barcelona? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Random as hell.
Crazy.
That Ospina was in Arsenal.
No.
Yeah.
Oscar Murillo, no? Too. He was in Barcelona for a second. Oscar Murillo, no?
Nah, Murillo was in Barcelona
was it?
too.
No,
Murillo.
Oscar or Jason?
Jason.
Jason Jimenez.
Jason.
Sí. Roger Martinez not going to help us.
No, I don't think he will. I was just asking about him because I literally haven't heard that. He might be insane.
Man, his goal against Argentina was insane, man.
Yeah, I'm still celebrating that goal. Right? Yo, that was the last time Argentina lost before they lost to Saudi Arabia in the World Cup. Did you know that? Son datos y hay que darlos.
Hay que darlos.
That game was crazy, bro. 2-0 against Argentina in the Copa America. Yeah, we miss Queiroz. Jason Jimenez. Claro,
Queiroz, man. Queiroz was balling, man. My boy, Queiroz.
Your boy.
Good times.
The historic coach that eliminated 2 teams from the same World Cup.
Still went to the World Cup, my guy.
I was at the funny story. I was at the Gold Cup draw. It was here in LA like 2 weeks ago, and he was there. The coaches were going by, and I was like, "Oh, I really want to talk to this dude. I wanted to say something to him." No.
No. I'm telling you, bro. I ese man le hicieron. Sí, no. El chisme, ese man tiene que tener el chisme ahí, bro. Something happened. Ese man le hicieron la cama, güey.
Yeah,
ese man lo echaron.
And I was finishing writing like the quick story that we were getting up for the draw, and I went to walk over to where like the zona mixta was. And I was like, did he walk by already? Like, that dude already left. He didn't stop and talk to nobody. I was like, damn, man.
You should have asked him, what happened?
With him, bro.
We're waiting on the Felipe Cárdenas exclusive.
Right.
For real. Facts.
He got that for sure.
Shout out to Felipe Cárdenas.
Yeah, we didn't even mention Copa America is like going to be in the States next year, right? Yeah, have they announced cities for Copa America or no?
Nah, not yet. They haven't announced anything officially yet, but I just think the momentum going towards the World Cup, it's just like everything they want to have all these tournaments and like the Gold Cup and being here like in LA is a big deal for people, and then it's just crazy how much momentum. And now they're talking about the women's tournament potentially coming this way as well, and it's like, yo, but the Copa America is very unique because you have all of these Spanish people all over the states that are gonna come out. Like I remember 2016, bro. I was literally wilding out to go follow Colombia in that tournament, like taking day after trips. I was bugging, bro. I spent a lot of money, drank a lot of guaro that summer, but it was dope.
Yeah, which one did you go to?
Bro, I saw Colombia, I think 3 times that tournament. I saw him in Houston when they played, I think it was Paraguay or something like that, or some weird ass game. Costa Rica, maybe. Costa Rica, I think it was.
We lost.
Yeah.
1-0? Was it 1-0?
That was the game that they decided to rotate the lineup, and I was like, bro, I flew all the way out here to watch this shit. And I was the day before that, I was at Bolivia versus Chile at Gillette Stadium in Mass. Then that's that Friday night to Saturday, we flew to Houston to watch Colombia. And then the next day we flew back to Mass to watch Argentina against, I forgot who they played that day. And then I ended up going to the Peru game, the game at MetLife as well, to watch Colombia. I was everywhere, bro. It was a lot of fun.
That was the PKs, right?
That was the PKs. Yeah, that was the PKs. Yeah.
So I went to the following game. I went to
Chicago.
To Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when
it got rained out. Man. It was horrible, bro.
I remember that tournament vividly, man. It was a lot of fun. But that's the thing. Like those tournaments for like Colombians or Peruvians, like any Spanish like nationality that has a big population in the States is gonna be massive. So that's gonna be a blast, bro.
Where do you guys think Colombia is going to set up camp if we qualify to 2017, 2026 It's got to be between.
I don't even want to talk about it.
It's got to be between Florida and New Jersey. All right, it's where all the Colombians are.
Yeah, it would probably make more sense to be down in Florida, but I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Yeah, I feel like Florida would make sense, but it's Florida, bro. I feel like a lot of those teams are gonna. There's a lot of places in Florida, but I feel like a lot of those teams are gonna be vying for that. And there's still the conversation like the final, where the Colombians at in LA. Just me, yo, Cassius, hit me up, man. I'm like one of 3 that I know out here right now, bro. Yeah. I've been out here. I've been here for almost 5 years now. So yeah, holla at me, bro. The Colombians are very few, but there's a big festival that they do every year for the Independencia, which I heard is dope. I haven't been to it yet, but I think there's in terms of like setting up for the team, like Florida definitely makes sense. But the one thing people haven't really talked about is like the weather conditions, and that's blowing me because obviously a lot of those stadiums are like inside and shit like that, but that's when you think about like training and stuff like that and different stuff in the summer, it's very interesting because like some of these players might be gassed if they're like training in Florida outdoors compared to training indoors. So like, but it's the summer. So like, if you say, I'm going to go up to Jersey, you might get the same humidity, same heat. Like it's a very interesting situation because I don't think people realize how sporadic the weather is in the summer here. And that not all the stadiums are inside. So some people are going to have to play in outdoor stadiums in certain places that are not ideal. But, I guess we cross that bridge if we get there at some point.
Yeah, knock on wood. Antonio Rodriguez, eliminatories are so soon. Would like to see Lorenzo nail down a formation. We start in September. September, we open up with Venezuela. So in Barranquilla, I think.
Uy, la gran casa la selección, mijo.
Yo, I watched the game Suramericano in Bogotá.
That's right.
Colombia, Uruguay. That was crazy, bro. It was intense. Yeah. But you know what? Like, I haven't been to a game in Barranquilla for eliminatoria, so I can't comment on the atmosphere. But what I think is that
I went back in 2017.
Now I got flashbacks of you.
I don't want to even talk about that, bro.
No, we should talk about it. We should talk about it.
Bad memories, bro. Bad memories.
But yeah, I don't know. Bogotá was intense, man. But I think it was cool because it was like La Popular, like everyone went. Like it wasn't limited to influencers or people with money because those games are expensive in Barranquilla, no?
Yeah, they are super expensive, bro. I just don't understand why don't they rotate? Doesn't every other country do that? Like, don't they just play whatever? You have like nice stadiums, you have all these different, regions and fan bases and stuff. I know obviously money is always the answer to all of this, but I was shocked when I went to that game in Barranquilla, like how difficult it is to actually get to the stadium compared. And listen, I've only been to the stadium in Medellin. I haven't been to the stadium in Cali and Bogotá, so I don't know. But I'm like, in Medellin, the metro leaves you right there. You're good. Like in Barranquilla, bro, you had to take like a whole ass.
Yeah, you had to flex the metro real quick.
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? But it's like, yo, I'm like, bro, this doesn't really make that much sense to me because we've talked about it. Everybody's like, the advantage is the weather. I'm like, bro, the weather literally gives us no advantage anymore, bro. Like that's something of the past.
Zero, bro. It's hurting us.
Zero advantage, bro. I'd rather them play in Bogota when it's raining than go play and subject some of these people to the heat and get gas. Like we don't have an advantage, and that's sad to me because I'm like that game against Peru that I was at. Like they took over the stadium, they took over the city, bro. And that was a game that all we needed to do was get one measly point out of it. And we probably would have went to the World Cup, and we lost it in like the 80-something minute.
No, bro. I like the game I went to in Bogota. I like the atmosphere was great. Like the stadiums, it's not a nice area, but it's easy to get to. And I think they need to like freshen up the El Campín, like and do some renovations.
Even in Pereira, I heard Pereira has a really nice stadium. I heard that it's accessible. Like there's places in Colombia.
Pues Armenia, si quieren Armenia, pa.
No, papi.
En el del Deportivo Cali.
Putas, papi. Cali, like,
in Deportivo Cali, no one goes, bro.
Palma Seca.
Andy was saying Barranquilla is hard to get to, and Cali's impossible.
Is it? Are they both hard to get to? Palma Seca and the other one?
I mean, it's just like outside the city.
Pascual,
it's just like far.
Because Pascual looks like the.
Oh, Pascual is dope. Pascual is super easy to get to.
Why would they want to play there a game or two, bro? Like I don't understand that shit at all.
And Cali be lit.
In Cali.
In Cali be lit. People show out in Cali. When the women's playing Cali, people show out.
Yeah, it's Cali ambiente, bro. And I think the longer that, and not to say there's no ambiente in Barranquilla, because I think people always like to argue like
hay ambiente.
Like I ambiente and it's dope, but I'm like, yo, it doesn't make sense why you wouldn't want to rotate that around the country, knowing that in every section you're gonna get people that are willing to go to these games, especially because they haven't played in those cities in so long, bro. Like if you bring a selección to Cali who haven't been able to see a live game, like people are gonna show up. But it's like you say, you're basically forcing people to go to Barranquilla and then to go to these games. And I was frankly disappointed after the game. I think it was like a Friday. I was like, bro, there's nothing to do out here. Granted, we lost, but I'm like, bro, and once again, I'm biased because I'm from Medellin, and that's really mostly what I know. But I'm like, bro, in Medellin, after a game, the streets are packed. It doesn't matter who the hell was playing, who lost.
La 70, la 70.
La 70, dog. So I'm like, yo, where's the energy out here? You know what I mean? So it could be better. Definitely could be better. But
Andy estaba buscando el remate, pero no.
No hay remate, parce. Uno bien triste, huevón. Uno bien triste.
No, that had to be
y me da una cerveza toda caliente, no la chimba, güey.
Bro, Andy, que es que te van a dar chorizo, pa.
Pause.
Yo leí que un paquete, ¿qué?
Un paquete de chorizo con arepas. No, pero que nos invite también para yo que lo comer. Le
gusta el chorizo. Le gusta el chorizo.
Nah, but yeah, it's an interesting conversation, man.
What I miss most about Colombia is like the little stands, man. Like you go 3 blocks to Doña Marlene with the chusitos y...
Marlene, las empanadas de Doña Marlene. Las empanadas de Doña Marlene.
Hey, don't let these guys fool you, bro. They're mad Argentinian now, bro. Argentinos. Esos maricas están para acá celebrando. Ese man con la camisa celebrando. Un día lo vi con la camisa de River, el otro con la camisa del Boca. Yo hice con los reales. Gente seria.
Es la de Fabra, pero es la de Fabra. Pero es la de Fabra. Ex Deportivo.
Hasta peor, güey.
No, ex Deportivo.
Bueno, qué pena es que la de Fabra.
La de Fabra.
La de Villa.
No. No nos calentemos. Nos vamos a calentarle la
No, but from now, I know we went to Argentina and stuff, but from now on, like Dibu, number one.
Oh no, ya, yo. Like we're done. No, the Mundial happened. Messi got his cup. Like yo, they're done. Like no more Argentina, no more Dibu, no nothing.
Yeah,
for real. See, no, he could get injured. For all I know.
We gotta start the trash talk early again, man.
Facts.
And Brazil too, bro. I mean, Brazil's always gonna be Brazil, but yo, the way that they ended, the tournament and right now, like Neymar is not that dude no more. Obviously, they got a very talented. I mean, they're all talented over there, but
they got hell of players, bro.
Hay que ponerse las pilas, güey. Because we say the same shit. They do. They're them in Argentina, like they're son una máquina, una fábrica, basically. But it's like, bro, Colombia is way too talented in terms of the player pool that we have to be going out the way that we do, bro. Like it's embarrassing, dog. Like, because once again, like people from the outside looking in, they always expect, oh, Colombia's playing, like, oh, we want to watch. They always expect something from us, and I'm like, wait, esta gente no sabe that like we haven't been playing to the level that we should be for a while, But that's why I was dope that game against Mexico, because in those 45 minutes, I was like, oh, like this reminds me of the fun, like how great these teams could be when you see that golazo that Barrio scored for that volley. Like, it's like, bro, we
out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
When we were in Argentina, our Argentinian friend, he told us that there's like this thing. Hay un dicho de colombianos que juegan en Argentina that Colombians play out of context. Like,
yeah,
they're random, bro. Like, one moment they're like super good, like they don't follow the flow of the game. They're just them, like out of nowhere. Like, they just do random shit. Like Barrios, no one expects a Barrios golazo from outside the box on a volley. Like Barrios, he came in and he can't switch the field. He was known to be like a workhorse, right?
Right.
And for him to score a goal like that, like, is way out of context. Or Teo with
bro, que hacemos unas cagadas. ¿Para qué? Tenemos que ir colombianos para.
But it's like it's like the question that you asked about like players not being able to be sustainable in like Europe and stuff like that. It's like that's what it is. It's the consistency, bro. Like the level and the expectation in different leagues that are either European leagues or certain places, even certain leagues in South America, is very high, bro. Like, you have to be able to not only be good, but you have to consistently be somebody that's gonna be able to provide something. And a lot of times we see these players like, bro, Duan and Muriel were on top of the world. That stretch that they were, anything they touched was turning into gold. Like, that
Muriel was the best super sub in the world.
Atalanta games were on like TV in Colombia, like they were on the radio, like El Equipo de Colombia, like, and then like they fall off.
Yo, Colombia are mad dramatic for that though.
Mad dramatic, but it's like they were balling, you know what I mean?
Yo, like they're like police. Their ads with like Muriel and Zapato with the Atalanta jersey. Like, it's some betting site, like, for no reason. Like, just put the two with la camiseta de selección, like.
And even Everton too, when it was bro, they were riding that wave too.
Oh yeah.
Like, yo, toffee for life, bro. Toffee for life.
I got the jersey in my closet.
De la cuna. Bro, I lost mine. I don't know what happened to mine.
Yo, James left and he lost it. He said Lerma scored twice today.
Yeah,
so like,
it was a beauty.
Yeah,
it was a beauty.
Another out of context moment. Like, Lerma, he's not a goal scorer, but all right, doblete.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Así veo yo en mi equipo los miércoles. Nada, parceros, pero anything else you guys want to touch on?
The women's, man. That team is obviously showed out incredibly. Linda Caicedo, I think she scored today, right? Or yesterday?
Now in Madrid, for everyone that doesn't know.
I mean, and it's once again, this year we're talking about like money, like the federation, but like they showed, like they were like, oh, forget the criticism, forget all that, we're just gonna ball out. And I think that the World Cups are always tough, but it's you got to give them a shout out, because if we want to talk about being proudful of somebody, being orgullosos and shit like that, like they definitely took the shirt and were like, bro, we're gonna rep this fullest. And I loved all the videos I saw coming out of them dancing reggaeton and singing, like they were just having fun with it. So shout out to them. Hopefully they could have a good tournament, but we'll be keeping an eye on them too for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of football going on over the summer. U20 World Cup, friendlies, and then the Women's World Cup in late July.
And don't forget the Mighty Leagues Cup coming up.
¿La qué?
The Mighty Leagues Cup, bro. MLS versus Liga MX is gonna be amazing. But no, you know what though? I'm joking about that because it's gonna be a joke. But at the same time, you got to think about certain players that are playing down in Liga MX now. Chicho Arango, who like had a great time in MLS, now playing in Liga MX. Like, it's gonna give opportunity for certain players. That name is just on top of my head, but it's gonna give people opportunities to come in and clash and show out. And hey, man, like I said, when certain teams are playing, eyes are gonna be on it. It could be another way for people to prove themselves. Like, I don't think Chicho really has much of a space on the national team, but there's gonna be eyes on everybody. And like, say Columbus, in a few months is kind of like teetering around those playoff spots, the top of the table in the East. Like, they could potentially take that tournament in the summer seriously. Somebody like Cucho has a good tournament, papi, para arriba. So like, you gotta, like you said, the more soccer that's on, like, it's gonna be a lot of eyes, but it does offer opportunities for a lot of these players.
Sí, bro. Ojalá Cucho. I want Cucho to succeed. I want him to la rompa.
He scored yesterday, bro. Golazo, bro. Like,
golazo, bro.
And he just got back. Like, he was like, hey, now, bro. Like, he just picked the spot. He done.
He's a monster, man. He's too good for this league.
Really good.
All right, like, they didn't give him a chance in Europe, man. I mean, he's always fighting for relegation.
Mm-hmm.
Like his bum ass La Liga teams. Carrasco's our future. Agree, bro. Yo,
no,
even though like
that. I think we all agree with that, man. We're all
Yeah.
Carrasco fans over here.
he's in Russia, though. I think his contract ends in the summer, so I don't know where we'll see him. Top 5 league.
Tipo juega mucho.
Juega mucho. Pero bueno, muchachos. Hey, Andy, thank you so much for hopping on, man. I know it's been a minute. Entramos un poco frío, pero nos íbamos calentando, as the game went on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for hopping on. Your links, all your links are in the bio. So check it out. Follow Andy. Follow Parceros United.
Thank you for joining, Parceros.
We'll be
Thank you for
recording
joining.
again
Be active
later this week with a special guest. So pendientes, muchachos. Que va a estar buena. Y nada, thank you everyone in the chat participated, everyone who watched, who liked, who subscribed. Y nada, muchachos, la buena.
La buena, parceros.
Parceros.